Hello, everyone. Juxtaposition here. This will be a short tribute to Peter Falk, who made the Lieutenant Columbo character famous. The Lieutenant Columbo of the Los Angeles Metro Police Department, Robbery Homicide Division. Peter Falk created this Italian police detective disheveled character that always wore the raincoat and often looked like an unmade bed, in the words of Suzanne Plachette, a Jewish actress that starred in one episode of Columbo, which was sort of a blueprint for the Natalie Wood murder, known as Dead Weight, with Eddie Arnold as the murderer. And Suzanne Plachette was a material witness to the murder, filmed in Balboa Island in Newport Beach, Orange County Harbor. And Natalie Wood was killed not too far from that location. She was killed in the harbor of Santa Catalina Island, which is only about a 35-minute boat ride away from where the Columbo Dead Weight episode was filmed. It's the idea of dumping a dead body into the ocean like a sack of potatoes and then hoping that no one will find it. So that's what happened to Natalie Wood. That's what happened to the United States Army procurement officer in the episode Dead Weight with Peter Falk. Peter Falk was Jewish. He came from Polish and Hungarian Jewish parents, born in the Bronx, New York. Very infamous area for major CIA operatives come out of the Bronx. None larger than Sidney Gottlieb, who was in charge of the MK-Ultra CIA program for 25 years at least, from 1953 forward as a deputy director, came from the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx. You're not going to get a banker more senior than Don Valentine, who grew up in the Bronx and attended Fordham University and founded Sequoia Capital at 2800 Sand Hill Road. Big-time private secretive banker from the Bronx, New York, and then from New Rochelle, New York, which is adjacent to the Bronx, you have Jerome Kohlberg, a Jewish gentleman who grew up in New Rochelle, and he founded KKR with two partners from Bear Stearns, and he came from New York out to California to 2800 Sand Hill Road also in 1972. Exactly the same time that Don Valentine did. And there they are at 2800 Sand Hill Road, one parking lot away from where Aaron Valente went missing, never to be seen again, having met with the managing director of KKR, Excel, and age 33, found dead as a doornail 5 days later in a different city of San Jose, instead of the city of Menlo Park. Anyway, Peter Falk was CIA also, and he came through the actors studio training, was the network channel that Peter Falk was recruited and followed. He attended a school called the, let me get this straight here. He attended the New School in New York City, which is a private research university in New York City. It was founded in 1919. It is a research facility for social science. It features social studies, music, liberal arts, humanities, architecture, fine arts, design, drama, finance, psychology, and public policy. Some of their faculty and alumnus, you'll recognize the names. Marlon Brando attended their school, Tony Curtis, Rod Steiger, B. Arthur, Bradley Cooper, who's an actor in Hollywood, a younger actor. John Cage attended this school. The chief investment officer strategist for J.P. Morgan Chase, Douglas Klieg-Gott, attended this school. Former member of Joe Biden's Council of Economic Advisors, Chris Hughes, attended this school. Co-founder of Facebook, Chris Hughes, attended this school. And I'm telling you right now, it's a spook training facility for CIA operatives. And you know that Marlon Brando was included in the CI Hollywood too, right? He did numerous social engineering appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and at the Academy Awards. And it wasn't the Will Smith, Chris Rock bitch slap. That's not the kind of social engineering statements that Marlon Brando made over the years. He should have got an Academy Award for The Godfather, but you remember he sent an American Indian to pick up that award on his behalf, right? That was a scandalous activity, not that different than the Will Smith, Chris Rock staged event. Whenever you see events at the Academy Awards that look like they're off script, you're wrong. They're on script. Everything is scripted on television to a T. And Columbo and Peter Falk proved that better than most. Everybody thought Peter Falk was Italian when the whole time he was Jewish. So he's a hell of an actor. And to his credit, let's play a little musical score and credit Columbo for never falling for the potato in the tailpipe. And that's really the purpose of today's video, is I don't want you to fall for the potato in the tailpipe, like I don't like to fall for it either. And here's Columbo on the subject of potatoes in the tailpipe, scored to the professional music of Columbo.
In our neighborhood, we had a bunch of jokers. I mean, we were a real wild bunch of guys. And we figured out a perfect way to put a car out of commission. You take a potato, you stick it in the exhaust pipe. It doesn't cause any damage, but the car won't start. It was a terrible thing to do. And I got a feeling that the reason I became a cop was to make up for all those jokes I played when I was a kid.
Yeah, Peter Falk came out of the Bronx, New York, and that general area where many famous people came. Sidney Gottlieb, director of MK Ultra, mind restructuring, psychological warfare against domestic citizens. He came from that neighborhood. Sidney Aaron Patty Tchaikovsky came from that neighborhood. He's a playwright and wrote the screenplay for Network, which is where Columbo, Peter Falk, was recruited through a network and into Hollywood, to CIA, social engineering Hollywood. This is where Stanley Kubrick came from. 2001 Space Odyssey, The Shining, Dr. Strangelove, Stanley Kubrick. This is where Peter Falk came from. This is where Don Valentine came from. This is where Dr. Albert Laverne, medical doctor, psychiatrist for MK Ultra, came from. This is where Louis Jolion West Rosenberg came from. Well, Brooklyn. This is where Harvey Milk came from. Well, Long Island. This is where Richard Levinson and William Link came from via Philadelphia before they came to New York. And Philip Saltzman came via Mexico to UCLA, Los Angeles, to produce Columbo, and would be the executive producer of Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. And you should know that the concept for the Angela Lansbury female detective was, of course, arranged in the Jack Cassidy, Martin Milner episode of Murder by the Book. The book in question being the Mrs. Melville series of murder mysteries. Mrs. Melville, who was the sleuth, the female sleuth. And from that episode of Columbo, Murder by the Book, they created Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury, who appeared in The Manchurian Candidate with a Jewish gentleman by the name of John Frankenheimer, who lived at the Malibu colony and hosted the Last Supper for Robert Kennedy before he had his head blown off at the Ambassador Hotel on June 5th, 1968. Angela Lansbury was directed by John Frankenheimer. She played the mother for the Manchurian Assassin, who was played by Lawrence Harvey from England. Lawrence Harvey, who attended the Sharon Tate, Roman Polanski fake wedding reception at the Playboy Club in London, England, back on January 20th, 1968. And Angela Lansbury appeared with Lawrence Harvey in The Manchurian Candidate in 1962, I believe that was. Anyway, I'm just telling you that Lawrence Harvey died mysteriously at age 45, so that's kind of a question mark. And Peter Falk's creator, Richard Levinson, died mysteriously of a heart attack at age 52 in Brentwood, which is next to Beverly Hills and Holmby Hills and Bel Air. And Peter Falk lived below the crime scene of Sharon Tate and Abigail Folger's murder. He lived a mile and a quarter a distance away below the crime scene in close proximity to the Walt Disney Mansion. And on his street was Jack Benny, Lucille Ball, Jimmy Stewart, Agnes Moorehead, who again also attended the fake reception for Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski in London. Agnes Moorehead, the witch from Bewitched, the mother-in-law of Elizabeth Montgomery, the Samantha Stevens character, the witch who played the first Columbo victim, if you didn't know. The Columbo was borrowed from other performing arts works in earlier years. It wasn't completely created by Richard Levinson and William Link. They didn't create it out of nothing. They borrowed and stole it from other people. Angela Lansbury appeared in Murder Mysteries, but so did Agnes Moorehead, where she played the murder victim, and Joseph Cotten played the murderer in San Francisco at the Orpheum Theater. Agnes Moorehead, who's Peter Falk's neighbor on Roxbury Drive, she was the first murder victim of a Columbo that was performed in theater in San Francisco, with Joseph Cotten being the murderer. The first Columbo on television pilot series was referred to as Prescription Murder, starring Gene Barry, a medical doctor psychiatrist, not different than Albert Laverne or Louis Jolyon West. Anyway, that's my tribute to Columbo today, which is just to give you a little taste that this guy was clandestine service all the way. He's a Jewish gentleman playing an Italian for his lifetime. Nowhere did they ever present that he was proud of being Polish or an Hungarian Jew. Never, at any time. They always talked about lasagna when they're on the Dean Martin roast show. No mention of his Jewish heritage. It was Italian, lasagna, Frank Sinatra. He was chumming up to all the Italian singers. Nothing to do with his true heritage, which makes him the ultimate CIA spook, which is why you should never believe a social engineered Hollywood actor, actress, producer, director. Doesn't make any difference if their name is Oliver Silverstein Stone, or if their name is Tim Robbins, or if their name is Howard Stern, or if their name is Neil Young, or if their name was Shirley Temple. It matters not. They are acting, and when the camera is on, they are reading a script. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.